Hey guys, welcome to the channel. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, or joining me for the first time, you haven't missed much. A while ago, my husband and I were filming videos and took a bit of a break. And after, some friends of mine that have recently gotten pregnant or just that have had interest, they've reached out to me and have asked a lot of questions about what it's like to have a baby, and I've been writing them back in these long paragraphs, and everyone said that the information is so helpful that I thought I would get back to doing videos. So today's video is all about postpartum and just basically that period of time after you deliver and everything that you go through, because so many people leave out a lot of details. They talk about the pregnancy glow, they talk about what it's like having a child, but no one ever really tells you so anyway, people talk about the pregnancy glow, and they talk about having a child like this one. But they never really talk to you about the phases that go in between. I don't know if people forget along the way, or if I don't really know what happens, but I know that I was in for a rude awakening when it came to my first baby, and now that I've had my second, I feel well equipped to tell you guys all the stuff that they didn't. So for those of you who don't know, I have a 2-year-old son, Elias, who was delivered vaginally and in a pretty urgent situation. And then just 4 weeks ago, I gave birth to this beautiful princess. Her name is Avielle Rose, and I delivered her via emergency C-section. Just like I said, just 4 weeks ago. So I myself am 4 weeks postpartum. All right, so here we go. My first piece of advice is to get that thought that you're gonna have this aha feeling of, this baby is the most magical thing in the world, and I'm so happy, I'm so motherly, right whenever they place the baby in your hands. If you feel that, that's great. But don't feel discouraged if you don't. With my first, I was so traumatized by the pain that I felt of labor that it took me like 2 days for it to really set in that I was a mom, and that's okay. And with her, I was in so much pain that I wasn't even able to hold her for a long time, on my chest, just because of the C-section. So I really didn't have that, this is my baby feeling immediately. So don't feel discouraged if you don't get that feeling that everybody talks about, and you're not alone in that, so just know that. My second piece of advice is to stay in the hospital as long as you possibly can. And you're gonna want to go home so bad. You will, whoever might be staying in the hospital with you, they will as well. But take advantage of the fact that you have an extra set of hands to possibly hold the baby. And if you need food, you can order it at any time. I know both times I was so eager to leave because the nurses, they will get on your last nerve. Even if they're great, and they are, they'll come in constantly to give you pills, to check on the baby, to check on you. It's like as soon as you get the baby to sleep, they come in, they'll wake the baby up, and it's just like really annoying. But even in spite of that, once you get home, it's like it'll really set in that this is all on you. Whether it's your first kid, your second kid, your fifth kid, this is all on you. And it's just like it's an intense feeling. It's nice to be home at first, but then it's like, I kind of miss just being able to order food and not having to get up and get it myself. So I say take advantage of that hospital stay as long as you can. My third piece of advice is to take everything from the hospital. And I don't mean just like steal stuff, but there's stuff that they'll offer you, and they have an endless supply of it, so to speak. Take it all, say you ran out, and then take some more. So like I was in the hospital literally stuffing my bags because I know They give you these like fishnets, and I'm not talking about like the nice stockings. I'm talking about underwear. They'll give you these like fishnet panties that are huge, that you are able to fit over your ginormous diaper that you will be wearing for a couple of weeks. Exhibit A, giant diaper. So obviously they talk about needing pads, but what they don't talk about are these. And it's like, this thing is huge. You could probably like, it's like a boat. You could probably swim on it. It's huge. They talk about pads, but they don't tell you about this. This is like a whole nother level. But yes, you'll be wearing those. C-section or vaginal. That was something that blew my mind too, is that after having a C-section, I didn't think that the whole situation down there would be the same as vaginal. It's the same as far as the bleeding goes, so you will be wearing that. They'll also give you this dermoplast spray, and that stuff is magical. Take a lot of that and you'll find out what you need it for, but take it. Then they also give you a little squirt bottle. It's going to be a squirt bottle that you use. You'll figure out why on all this stuff. I'll save that part. I'll leave that up for your own imagination, but take those bottles too. Take the dermoplast, take the giant pads, take the fishnet panties. Take it all, because once you run out, you're in a troublesome situation whenever you go to the store and get like these little baby pads. It's not going to work out. Okay. So take as much stuff as you can get. Now, a little side piece of advice, are those, hold on, the honey pot products. Now I know that there's some stuff going around right now, because they're a black owned company, and I think some racist comments were being made. I don't know everything about the situation, so I don't want to speak to it. But this is not a plug because they have all that stuff going on. My sister-in-law actually sent me a package, and it was more postpartum pads. And I was like, well, I'm going to take all of them from the hospital. So I was wondering, why is she sending me these? Oh, I was so wrong. These are magical. You won't really be able to use them right away. You're going to need the big ones that they give you at the hospital first. But after a while, these are herbal infused pads, and they have mint, lavender, and aloe. So the mint says cooling, and they are. The lavender is calming, and it is. And the aloe is soothing. So I would definitely highly recommend these. They are amazing. They feel amazing. And I won't get too descriptive, but just trust me, they are fantastic. Now, they also make another product, and it is Mommy to Be Wash. And I used this while I was pregnant. I also used it I also use it currently, and I honestly don't think that I'll be switching to any other product. It is so great. All natural. Try it. You will love it. Promise. Yeah. So take everything from the hospital and use those products. Now, my fourth piece of advice is to set some clear boundaries before you deliver. And that is with family, that is with friends, as far as who's going to come and visit the hospital afterwards, who's going to be visiting you in your home, even people you love, even people that you might think, oh, I'd have no problem with this person coming to see me. There is something to be said about sitting in a diaper, your boobs are leaking milk 24/7, you look and feel like crap for weeks on end, and not wanting to see anybody. And that is totally okay. My advice would be to let everybody know ahead of time that, the first couple of weeks, you just want it to be you and your baby, or you, your baby, and your significant other, whatever the case may be, because it's better to say that and then, if you decide that you are up for company, say, hey, come on over, than to not set any type of guidelines and everybody's coming over and then you have to kick them out. Because, you might feel really bad about that, or you might not. But I know for me, it was just easier to set some guidelines in advance, because it does get overwhelming between the nurses coming in every 25 seconds, and then on top of that you have family and visitors and friends, and it becomes too, for me it was too much. For you, it might be your type of ball game, but I know I was glad the second time around that I set some parameters, because the first time I didn't, and I truly did regret it. It was just too much. And then to follow on that note, set very clear guidelines as far as your expectations for the help that you'll need. And you will need help. After you have the baby, you're going to have people who want to come over, and when they do, they want to hold the baby. They're there to see the baby. But no one's thinking about you. No one's thinking about mom. No one's thinking about what mom needs. And that is truly a hard place to be, because you're going to need help. You're going to feel overwhelmed. You're going to be the one who just wants to sit there and snuggle with your baby. Maybe asking for help with the dishes. One thing that was super, super great was having some meals prepared. Go ahead and, while you're still able to, during your pregnancy, cook some meals that you can freeze in advance, so that way after you deliver, you don't have to worry about where your food is coming from. That you're not going to feel like cooking, you're not going to feel like getting out of the bed or doing anything, so it'll be really great to have your meals done. If you have some people in your network that you're able to say, hey, can you come over twice a week and just help me clean my house, or clean my house for me? And I know that sounds really personal, and it sounds like, I'm not going to want someone to come in and clean my house. Yes, you will. You're going to want to spend the most possible time just snuggling with your baby and not having anything else to worry about. The other thing that people really don't tell you about is breastfeeding. And not everybody plans to breastfeed. Some people plan to formula feed, of course. But if you are planning on breastfeeding, and even if you're not, those first couple of days and weeks are a nightmare. Like, people just show you, oh, breastfeeding is so natural, it's so beautiful, me and my baby, but they do not tell you about being engorged. I never even heard that word used in reference to your breast, like, before I actually experienced it. It is the worst feeling ever. It feels like tight, hard, just like it really sucks. And then it's just like you'll be leaking constantly. Like, you can just be sitting there, and you're gonna be sitting there in a milk lake. And it's just like, it's pretty miserable when your baby latches the first few times. It feels like a piranha. It's just like, the feeling is terrible. But there's light at the end of the tunnel. Once your milk regulates, and it takes a couple weeks, I say like about 4 to 6 weeks, you'll get to the point where it doesn't hurt anymore and you're not leaking quite as much. So at the beginning, it is so discouraging. It's really easy to just want to quit. But if breastfeeding is something that you want to do down the line, don't give up, because it does get better. Last big piece of advice that I have is, you are going to be hormonal, you're going to be emotional. There are going to be days when you really feel like you can't do it. You just feel so overwhelmed, and you feel like you're not equipped to do the job, to be a mom. You feel like the world is against you. What always help, I've had those moments, and you're gonna have them just because your hormones are going crazy. One thing that really helps me is to remind myself that my hormones are at work. They're all over the place. It's something in your body that's beyond your control. And just reminding myself of that helps me to kind of calm down. Okay, the world is not ending, it's my hormones. And it's not to discount, those feelings that you have, because they are sincere. Like, people are going to make you mad, and you might really be mad, but just know that you are even more mad because of your hormones. You might be sad about something, but just know that you breaking down in the middle of the grocery store is because of your hormones, and that is totally okay. If you get to the point where you feel like you are experiencing postpartum depression and you need to talk to somebody, definitely try your best to recognize it. Sometimes when you are in that postpartum phase, it's like you're so not yourself that you can't even recognize yourself, so it's hard to pick up on those warning signs. But get help. They have hotlines and stuff like that. And then if you feel like maybe you're not quite at that point, but you just feel like you need to talk to somebody, talk to somebody. I was fortunate in that I have so many mom friends who were experiencing everything at the same time as me, so I was able to text them and talk to them, and it really helped knowing that someone else was feeling what I was feeling. But if you don't have that, send me a message. I would love to talk to you and be there with you in those moments, just because I know what it's like. You're gonna feel lonely. You're gonna feel like you're shut in. We've got coronavirus going on right now, and everybody feels like they're shut in their house for weeks, and what are they gonna do? And I'm thinking, I've been shut in my house since February 21st. So that feeling that they're feeling, like I'm experiencing that on top of hormones, on top of an elongated time period. But it's real. You start to develop anxiety and just all kinds of feelings that you wouldn't normally feel just having to be in the house with a newborn. And lastly, I'll just leave you with this. Even though the postpartum period is hard, it is dark, it is stressful at times, it is lonely at times, it is so worth it. There's nothing greater than looking down at a baby that is virtually you. It's super magical, it's super great, and I wouldn't change it for anything. Just know that you will absolutely kill it at being a mom, even though it might not feel like it right now. So if you felt like this video was helpful for you, if you feel like it was informative, just hit like, comment, subscribe, all of those great things. My plan is to share just a lot more tips on the motherhood thing and various other aspects of life in general. But I hope that you continue to follow along and watch all of the things that our channel will have to offer.